Here's a loudness workflow that Grammy Award winner Luca Pretelese has used across his work with artists like Skrillex, Drake, Diplo, and Fred again, to name a few. Luca's approach revolves around multi-stage clipping into a limiter while reintroducing dynamics lost during the clipping process. Let me show you how it works. Start with clean clipping using standard clip. This reduces the dynamic range and ensures the second clipper handles fewer peaks. Using a clipper at this stage helps maintain the original envelopes of the track, avoiding the reshaping caused by limiting. Switch to Soft Clip Pro and increase the soft clip saturation to 10% or to taste. This setting controls the intensity of the soft clipping function, allowing you to add harmonic distortion. Always ensure oversampling is enabled to minimize aliasing and maintain audio fidelity. Now, open Pro L as a visualizer and then load Ozone to deploy two modules Luca uses to reintroduce some of the information lost during clipping. The Impact module is a multi-band microdynamics processor that helps restore transient detail. Luca uses this exact setup, dividing the signal into 4 bands. He adjusts the controls while listening to the delta, which is the signal being added by Ozone. Set the envelope to its fastest setting to ensure you're enhancing the transients rather than any sustaining material. The clarity module, described as psychoacoustic clarity processing, enhances the initial sharpness of sounds. To focus solely on transients, switch clarity to transient/sustain mode and turn the sustain off. These are Luca's preferred settings, but feel free to adjust them to suit your material. Just make sure to keep the attack and release settings fast to capture every transient movement in your track. At first glance, this might seem counterintuitive, removing transients only to add them back in. So, what's the point? The initial clipper removes extreme peaks in the waveform that don't contribute significantly to perceived loudness. However, clippers act indiscriminately, cutting both useless spikes and valuable transients. This is where the Ozone modules come in. They selectively restore transients in key frequency areas without bringing back the extreme peaks. This process enhances the perceived dynamics by rebuilding the attack portions of crucial elements, rather than simply replacing what was removed. Finally, the second clipper addresses any new peaks introduced by this restoration, keeping everything under control to avoid overloading the limiter. This staged approach shapes dynamics more precisely than relying on a single aggressive limiter or clipper at the end. By selectively reintroducing transients, you trick the listener's ear into perceiving the mix as dynamic and punchy, even though the actual dynamic range has been reduced. As mentioned earlier, the third plugin in the chain is a second clipper. Luca uses Diamond 3 Lift by Acoustica Audio, but I'll use another instance of standard clip with adjusted settings to suit a more controlled signal. The last plugin in the chain is Pro L, which handles the final leveling. Luca suggests keeping the look-ahead setting enabled for a clean sound. However, be cautious, anything over 1 millisecond may negatively impact the low end. Set Pro L to modern mode and push the gain reduction to hear how the limiter colors the sound. While monitoring this, fine-tune the attack and release settings, then back off the gain reduction to around 3 decibels for a balanced final result. A trick here is to hold Option on Mac and Alt on Windows while dragging up the gain. This automatically adjusts the output to match, allowing you to hear the limiting effect without an increase in volume biasing your perception. Luca states that after clipping and limiting, a solid mix should retain movement and groove, perception of transients, avoid unwanted distortion on the sides, and maintain a dynamic kick and bass relationship. For more insights from Luca Pretelese, check out this video on how he gain stages his mixes. Thank you for watching.